I would just like to indulge, to see if you could indulge my curiosity, because in your last film, Hotel Budapest, I'm a screenwriter student, and I read some of your interviews. I read Steven Zweig during the summer, and I couldn't find your film in it. So how does reading Steven Zweig made you write that kind of a film? If you could indulge that curiosity.
Yeah, well, you know what I think, really, in a way, I wanted to, you know, Paolo and I had talked about this at the time, but when I was first thinking about this, I was saying I wanted to adapt, I wanted to do a Stefan Zweig. But as it went along, as I read more of his work, sort of his whole body of work, and I started thinking I'd like to do something like Zweig. It's as much the setting and his thoughts about the period as anything else, and also the form of many of his stories. These things influenced me. In the end, we made up our own story, and it has nothing to do with it. It has no direct correlation to any of the narrative in the Zweig world. But he's the point of departure. Even though we made something that is not really like Zweig, let's say, it was Zweig who inspired me to want to make what we did make. And I kind of like that because, you know, I don't particularly, you know, we can go read the Zweig books. It exists. I mean, obviously there are probably as many. There are probably as many movies that are based on books as there are original ones, at least as many. And you know, they're brought to life in their own way. But for me, I was happier that we kind of discovered our own thing instead of directly adapting one of the Zweig stories, just because it was new for us and it was maybe more personal for us. But I don't know if I'm telling you what it takes from Zweig, but it was his inspiration, really. That's the key for me. Does that answer it?
Yeah. By the way, I was floored.
Good. Oh, good. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here. Right here. I want to go back to what you said just a moment ago about actors not getting the line. I'm a primary teacher, so I have 9-year-old kids, and they pretty much wear their heart on their sleeve all the time. And so when I heard Moonrise Kingdom was coming out, I was really excited about the premise, but when I saw it, it was not my favorite film, and I thought maybe... No, Grand Hotel Budapest is my favorite. So no, but what I was wondering was maybe if the kids didn't understand the beauty of a line coming out straight. Like a lot of your dialogue, a line comes out and the joke is in how straight they say it, and you know it's something comical. And I was wondering how you feel about working with kids, and if you think that they understand the comedy behind what they're saying, or what they're supposed to play.
Well, those kids, they did. Those kids, I think, were, you know, I love working with kids, and in that movie, we spent a long time finding these two, you know, we found lots of the supporting players very quickly, but the two lead kids took a very long time to kind of discover them, and but you know, they're the ones who they were into it in a way. You know, Bruce Willis. We had a wonderful time with Bruce Willis, but Bruce Willis, we have 11 days, and you know, he does his thing and he leaves. And these kids were around, you know, for months, and they were sort of living the movie, and you know, it's a big thing just in their experience. Suddenly, they're these, you know, they're singled out of their schools, you know, and they're going on an adventure like this. Yeah, I think they understand everything about it. I mean, you know, they're smart kids, and they know the script, they know the story, and we talk about it all. So I don't think there's really a thing that they're just you know, kind of just parroting something. They're thinking about it quite a lot. Richard.
Wes, this is a dream, by the way, just want to tell you that. You said earlier about how you, a lot of the time, just find it useful to sit and talk to people when you're writing. I just wondered if you could give any more insight into other ways that you kind of explore your subconscious, or just try and generate ideas in any more different techniques.
You know, I mean, my technique, my system that I've learned over the years is I need collaborators. I do better when I have somebody to work with. And you know, making a movie, there's so many sort of steps, and the number of collaborators, as we know, it grows and it shrinks. And you know, you have one period of the time when you've got where you're used to having 100 collaborators at once, and another period where you sit with one person in a room, and another part where you're working with a composer. All those collaborations, to me, that's where the ideas come from. The other thing I've also found, especially this last movie we did, we traveled a lot. We traveled sort of scouting locations, but it really became more like looking for things that would go in the movie. We went to Hungary, and we traveled around Czech Republic and Vienna and all around Germany and a bit in Poland, and we found buildings, and we found landscapes, and we found people, and we used them all in the movie. We took things from different places. We invited people that we'd met, and you know, for instance, there's the doorman of the hotel in our movie. There's these two doormen. They don't have lines in the movie, but they're two guys that we met who were they were the caretakers of an abandoned mental hospital outside of Budapest. And they were living. We scouted the place as possibly this could be we could make this into a hotel. It's, you know, it was empty. It was a kind of a ruin, an enormous ruin. And we saw these two guys who were living there, or you know, they had mattresses in this little room, and they were cousins. And it turned out that one of them he had taught literature in Egypt, and had sort of been down on his luck. And the other one had been a ringmaster in a circus. He worked in a circus, and they had these amazing stories. Anyway, you know, we found them along the way and invited them to come and be in the movie. And you know, I feel like just pulling people together like that, it sparks something. You learn things from them. They contribute something. So yeah.
Thank you. Dear Wes, I must tell you, I'm an opera singer. I come from a family of artists, and we are just crazy about your work. You're an amazing artist. You have a unique voice. The way you tell a story, your characters, is everything so amazing, so unique, so fresh. It's fresh. I think it's a key word.
Thank you. Thank you.
For your work. And you're crazy. Your work is human also, this sense of humanity that we saw in this movie from the 30s. So it's so deep, and it's so full of humor and so crazy at the same time. And I feel like it was a grown boy that makes your movie, so it's you. So the touch of, you know, this freshness and this craziness, where we feel like we can do anything we want when we are little. I think a lot of periods in your life, I'm sure they marked you a lot. And I would love to also to know a little bit your connections with music, also because I'm an opera singer, and also the Moonrise Kingdom had such a strong bond with Benjamin Britten. So tell me a little
bit. About music, yes, Moonrise Kingdom, you know, some movies I've done, there's a lot of music that we're aware of before we start the movie. That's in the case of Moonrise Kingdom, this one we had all this Benjamin Britten music, and I was sort of looking for more, gathering pieces that I didn't already know, and building some of the movie and the story around that. But it's, you know, working with a composer. We both, you know, we're both friends with Alexandre. Lisboa, and you know that's he brings his voice to the movie, to these movies in a special way, and you know, I mean, just seeing this movie, I mean, the music is absolutely crucial to this, this movie. It's a very musical film, and you know there are motifs all through the movie. You know, even silent movies, the music was a big part of it. You know, whatever was getting played live was always, you know, that was there from early in the history of this medium. Something about moving pictures and music they just click together. So, but you know, like Abel was saying yesterday, how mysterious it is to him when something is going to work, when something is going to suddenly be perfect in the movie, and how it can surprise you. That's often the experience, I think. It's sort of, you have to get lucky.
Hello, Mr. Anderson. You know, recently all these critically acclaimed directors and writers are venturing into television. And I think that your directing style, it would be very interesting to see it being translated into television. Have you ever considered doing something like that?
Yeah, well, you know, the thing with doing the TV is that it's I think you have to be comfortable with not knowing the whole project. You know, you have to start it without a sense of where it's going to end. You're going to, at a certain point, there's going to be a date where you're going to need to deliver this thing. I'm not wildly excited about working that way. I kind of like to get it figured out carefully. I like to, we shoot our movies lately, we shoot them very quickly, and we kind of try to be very strategic and economical in the approach to them. So it's not necessarily the most, it's not an automatic thing for me to be drawn to it. I love, and as an audience member, there's something in a TV, you know, in the TV format where you can get to know the characters in a way that's just not possible. You know, the time you can spend with the character, it has a huge impact on the audience. You know, I also, you know, Breaking Bad is the way, I mean, there's a bunch of the ones that are later, but Breaking Bad is still for me these last few years, the best one. The Wire also is another one. These to me are masterpieces like anything in the cinema. But yeah, I don't know if I would be that great at it.
I think there is some rules about plots and everything. I don't feel that you could, you know, adapt to that.
Yeah, maybe not. If I had to, I guess I would try to figure it out. But it's another thing is, I don't, you know, it's scary to me, the idea of working in that way. I think maybe when you start doing it, you master it. But I would be very anxious about doing that. So, do we want to do one more question?
Just one last one. I'd like to ask you something before that.
Okay.
Do you think that when they can write, a story or film with a kind of a strong character of a woman, like more than the choral movies that you do with the people?
Yes, because I have the Moonrise Kingdom, this one Moonrise Kingdom. That one, to me, the real center of the story is the girl in the movie. But all the movies I've done, really the main characters are the men, and especially watching these pre-code movies, that's the thing that makes me think about, can I do one of these? It's something I want to do. Whether I will succeed in doing that, I don't know, but it's